A judge has granted several motions requested by Casey Anthony's attorney. Her defense was granted access to forensic tests, DNA samples, and hair strands within 10 days. But a special request to let Anthony travel in secrecy to search for her missing daughter has been tabled until at least Monday. In another major development in this case, her father, George, will testify against her during a grand jury hearing next week.
Reportedly, he's going to talk about the confrontation he had with Casey when she didn't want him to go inside her trunk.
Casey, I got an extra set of keys. I'll go in the trunk and get it. So her and I got a little verbal thing. She didn't want you going. She didn't want me going in the trunk of the car. So as I'm getting ready to go out through our inner garage door before I open up the big garage door, she just blows right past me. Dad, I'll get your thing. She said something very crude to me that I don't appreciate. So as I'm walking out the garage with her, I'm walking at a pretty decent pace, and she's almost running out to her car. She says, Dad, I'll get it. I know where it's at. I said, Casey, I'm capable of reaching inside your trunk of your car, unbolting that thing, because when I bolt stuff down, I crank it down. And she says, Dad, I'll get it. As I'm walking, I just get back where the passenger rear taillight is to her car. She throws open the trunk. She said, here's your effing cans.
Good evening. I'm Jane Velez-Mitchell in for Nancy Grace. Tonight, the desperate search for a 3-year-old Florida girl, Caylee.
Jose Baez, Casey's attorney, asking for more freedom for Casey so she can go out and look for Caylee.
He wants her home confinement to be modified so that she can go out and look at these, what he calls key areas of interest in Caylee's disappearance.
Now, this is a babysitter that lives at this apartment, okay? It's been vacant.
He dropped her off at that apartment,
okay.
at those stairs.
If you had told us the truth, we wouldn't be here at Universal Studios at a place that you've been fired since 2006. With you trying to explain to us, you have an office and all that stuff.
If they're charging her and alleging that she lied and took them to this location, I should be able to, it's our position that we should be able to take her there and ask her, okay, where exactly did you point? Where exactly did you take them?
What he wants to do is to conduct this in secret, and we are opposed to that.
Your client is, as you stated, presumed innocent. Nobody would doubt that. I guess a skeptic sitting up here might think that if, in fact, your client had done this, then she might have access to a point of interest nobody else knows about and might be able to do something with potential evidence or something like that.
I will have no part in the destruction of evidence. I will not partake in that, and I will not allow my client to do that.
Huge developments inside and outside court today. For the very latest on today's courtroom bombshells, let's go straight out to Jessica D'Onofrio, reporter for CNN affiliate WKMG. Jessica, what is the very latest?
Well, Jane, the judge considered 11 motions today. He tabled 3 of them to consider them. We might hear something possibly on Monday. Now, those were really big motions for the defense. They want to preserve forensic evidence. They don't want the state to test it anymore so that it gets degraded. They want to be able to test it themselves. Also, the judge took under advisement the motion to seal Casey's home confinement schedule. Jose Baez is saying that there's a security risk there, and he doesn't want protesters or media following her, and that this could be a matter of her safety. Also, the judge took under advisement the motion to travel to key points of interest. Casey wants to be able to go to key points of interest in the case, show her defense attorney where she may have pointed to detectives to help in her own defense here. But it was a really big day for Casey Anthony's defense team today because the judge granted 8 different big motions as well. Now, Jose Baez and his defense team will be able to test forensic evidence. They'll have access to the state's results that they've gotten back from air samples from the University of Tennessee Body Farm. He'll also get flight manifests from the time when a woman said she saw Caylee at OIA at Orlando International Airport, and that there was a possible Caylee sighting and that she's actually alive. Also, he'll get to inspect digital evidence, anything on a hard drive that was confiscated from the Anthony home. He'll also get access to tips that have come into the Orange County Sheriff's Office pointing to the idea that Caylee may be alive somewhere. So he's also, and this was a big thing too, he's also going to be able to review polygraph tests that detectives have done thus far. So he's going to have a lot of access to a lot of new information to help defend Casey Anthony.
Jessica D'Onofrio, that is such a shocker. Yes, 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 all for the defense. And who's not there to take it all in? The one person who is at the center of this case, Casey Anthony. She was a no-show in court. Let's go straight out to Natasha Lance, Nancy Grace, producer, who was in court today. Describe the mood. I understand it was a packed courtroom. There was a lot of tension, a lot of expectation to see Casey Anthony walk in. And then voila, even though she got approval, she didn't show up. Why?
To be in court today, and actually I spoke to a spokesperson for the Baez law firm who said that they never intended for Casey to attend today's hearing. Jose Baez gave some remarks afterwards, and he said that Casey has full faith in him as well as the defense team, and that there was no reason for her to be there, but she was elated with the outcome of what happened today in court for the defense team.
Natasha, they're saying that after the fact, but she went and asked her case supervisor, can I have permission to go to court? So why would she ask for permission? And then they turn around and say, well, no, she didn't have to be there and she didn't really plan on being there.
Well, that's a big mystery, Jane, that no one seems to be answering at this point. But one of the things that I think we could probably safely assume is that there's a security risk, which Jose Baez raised today with one of his motions, that they are afraid for Casey's safety and afraid that somebody could possibly do something to her because there have been protesters. Some of those protesters have become violent in the past, and that could have been a pretty bad spectacle if there were some of those protesters out at the courthouse today.
Well, Leonard Padilla, bounty hunter, originally helped her spring from jail and has become skeptical since. What do you make of it? You've been analyzing Casey now. Why would she ask her supervisor to go and have permission to go to court? And this is a huge day. She won a string of victories in court, but then she says, I'm not going.
Well, let me see if I can put this in perspective. What the 8 victories that she got are called Pyrrhic victories, okay? What she did was get a 10-day limit, which when the grand jury comes in with the indictment, and I'm sure they will on Tuesday or Wednesday, it's still within the 10 days. They'd had to release that information under discovery rules anyhow. As far as the safety issue, I can tell you this. I raised that the day after the results from Tennessee came in and the DNA from the FBI lab came in. I raised that as a strong issue with Jose Baez. I said, we have a safety issue with your client. We have to do something.
But do you buy the safety issue, yes or no? That she didn't
Yes,
show up
absolutely. It's been a safety issue all along. And he didn't take it serious then, and I don't think...
But Leonard, she is asking for permission to go and search for her daughter, quote, unquote. That's one of the rulings that the judge did not finalize today. He didn't say yes or no, but they filed a motion. If she's so scared about her safety, why is it that she's seeking now a motion after all this time, after she partied and went shopping during a time when she could have been searching for her daughter? Now they're petitioning the court. Let's go and let her search for her daughter.
That is typical Casey, Jose Baez stuff that it's meaningless. The minute she gets rearrested on the murder charge or the manslaughter charge, when it's brought in by the indictment, she'll have a no bail and she won't be able to go anywhere anyhow. And the judge tabled that. The judge was very astute in the way he granted certain motions and the way he tabled certain motions. The ones that he granted, the discovery is going to be available next Thursday or Friday anyhow, still within the 10 days. He was very astute in what he did. But that is typical Casey, typical Jose Baez. But the thing about it is there is a safety issue, and I wouldn't even want her out there searching if I was in charge of her. That is just, I don't know what that's about.
You talk about the safety issue, you talking about threats. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you've got massive amounts of people in Florida that would harm her if they could get a chance. You've got the protesters out in front of that house that rally every now and then. That's the kind of stuff you don't want her exposed to, whether it's in secret or in private. I mean, any way, shape, or form. You don't want her out there. I don't know what they're doing that for.
All right, Detective Lieutenant Stephen Rogers, Nutley, New Jersey Police Department. She doesn't show up in court, and now we're hearing it could be safety reasons, but In court today, her lawyer says, I want you, Judge, to let her leave her home confinement so she can search for her child, even though she didn't search for her child, according to reports that we've received during the crucial days and weeks when she originally went missing. What do you make of it?
Listen, I don't buy the safety issue. It sounds like, for goodness sakes, you got to declare martial law in the state of Florida to protect this person. I deal with cases every day, high-profile cases, and this is one of the rarest things I've ever heard where a defense attorney is bringing up a safety issue. Fact of the matter is that this individual appears to have manipulated the process and is going to do everything she could to get off.
DNA by itself is, when they test it, they destroy it. Okay, that's the point of our motion. What we're asking is this: if there is DNA that they don't have enough to give to the defense, that they should allow us the opportunity to have our experts present while they test it.